Another episode of Eldredge Extra and another pitcher from Harvard. Well, it's not me and Nicholas or Dylan Pescatore or Foster Nicholas. That's your broadcast crew. But the new member of our crew this week is Callan Fang. Callan, thanks so much for joining us. And I just got to jump right in and say we are so excited to have you. You have had a great year and a half with Harvard, and now it's time to translate it to the Cape. And, what do you know about the Cape? Sean Matson, what has he told you about the experience of summer ball on the Cape? Because I know you both played in Vermont in different years in the Futures League, but this is a different beast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Sean's been the man. He's been like my older brother. I've learned so much from him about baseball and just about life in general. And he's told me a ton of great things about the Cape, and I'm super excited to join him this summer.
When you talk about the Cape, I know you're from right on the New Jersey, Pennsylvania line. You're a big Philly sports fan, but have you ever been? What do you know about it, about the Cape period, but also about the Cape Cod Baseball League?
Yeah, I've actually never been to Cape Cod in general. Growing up, I would always go to the Jersey Shore, so that's kind of been my like beach town, beach scene kind of. But yeah, I don't know too much about it. I know it's great baseball, great play. It's like the place to play, and I'm super excited for that. Sean said on off days, a bunch of the guys will go down to the beach, have a good time. So yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to exploring the area and getting to know the people in the town and play some baseball.
I mean, you've got some summer league experience last year in the Futures League over in Vermont. I guess how is that different to maybe the college season, and what does summer ball mean to a baseball player of your caliber?
Summer ball is great. I had no clue what to expect going into it. But yeah, it was like one of the best decisions of my life. I actually got placed in Vermont pretty late last year. I didn't know where I was going. Vermont was like the idea of Vermont was floated out there, but I wasn't exactly sure until probably a month before the season. I think it was great living with the host family. I really fell in love with my host family from last summer. They were great, Meg and Seth. But yeah, it was great to play baseball every day. It's like not having to worry about school, and baseball is your full-time job. You love it. You go to the field at like go lifts, go work out, and play a game at night, and just eat, sleep, repeat. It's a great thing to do for the summer. Much better than getting an internship or job.
It's always nice to hear a Harvard guy say it's not good to think about school. And I know what you're saying is, hey, we can take a step back too. No, I'm just joking. There's a reason why you're at where you're at Harvard, and your father also a fantastic baseball player back in the day, pitching at Johns Hopkins. So I know you mentioned Sean's been a big influence on your career, and I'm sure not only at school but at Harvard in summer ball, but your father and his influence on your career, your pitching style, and your passion for the game.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been my role model from day one. Just starting to play at an early age. I think something I really appreciate was like he never forced it upon me. It was always my decision whether I wanted to play or not. And I think I quickly fell in love with it. And yeah, he was there for me from day one. He in Little League, he coached me. I think he coached me up until like 14 or 15, and then kind of passed it off to some other people. But yeah, he's been great. Talk about pitching, talk about just like working out, mental stuff. Yeah, anything I need, I could always go to him, talk to him about that. And it's a great resource to have.
What was so interesting with the Firebirds last summer was that you had pitchers coming from different places, but also that looked different on the mound. I mean, we had a pitcher from Vanderbilt and Grayson Carter who was throwing 100 miles per hour. And then we had a lefty sidewinder who's throwing 88, 87. And what kind of pitcher are you? What can fans expect from you on the mound? What kind of pitches do you throw? And kind of, what do you kind of represent on the mound?
Yeah, I'd say on the mound, I'm a competitor. I'll go out there, give it my all every time. I think the fans could expect someone to fill up the strike zone. Um, Big on not walking guys, throwing it in there, challenging guys to hit it. My arsenal features fastball, I'd say like low to mid 90s. 12-6 curveball and a changeup to go off of that I'll throw to lefties and righties. So the combination of those three, keeping them off balance and filling up the zone, is what I go with.
We had a chance to talk to Sean, and he called you an instant impact guy as a freshman. And then you build off that in a bullpen season last year. You come back and you're a starter this year, and you just won an Ivy League Pitcher of the Week honor, and congrats on that. But how's that transition been, and how are you enjoying being in that starting rotation?
It's been great. I think last year I was super fortunate that I got a couple opportunities and then stepped into a key relieving role. I think going into the season I was pretty unsure of where I would stand, but like last season went better than I ever could have imagined. And then I think building off of that in the summer, talking with Coach Cole, I think it was just like the natural next step was to fill that starter role, throw some more innings. So it's been really great. I've been working on it in the off season. I think the biggest thing going from reliever to starter has been like how to exert your energy and mental focus. So learning the ins and outs of that. I know Sean's really good at that, about pacing himself through a game. So learning from him has been really key. Super excited to start, just throw more innings and compete on Saturdays with them.
Where do you think you've taken the biggest leap, whether it be physically or, your pitch repertoire, or even you kind of allude to the mental side of things since you got to college? Was it in the middle of last season? I know you had an awesome stretch between like mid-April and mid-May where you didn't allow a run. Or has it been these last couple games where, you've been throwing strikes and after a tough outing to start the year, you've been killing it? Where have you taken the biggest leap over these last 2 seasons?
I would say my biggest leap was up at Harvard before the season. We're not outside, obviously, because it's cold. We have this giant bubble that goes over the football field. So I'd say bubble season my freshman year was when things started to click and things really got going. I had a pretty shaky fall coming into college, but came back from winter break, worked on it back home, worked with my dad, some of my teammates from high school, and just really hit the ground running. Started to feel like myself on the mound, feel really comfortable with who I was, trusting the pitches, and trusting the pitch calls from Coach Cole. And I think from there, the rest took care of itself, just filling up the zone with confidence and never really looked back.
You mentioned high school, and we always like to do a little background on every player that comes to Orleans in the summer. Through high school, you had a little bit of an interesting career because you suffered a pretty serious injury right before your junior year of high school with the sprained UCL. You couldn't even field, you could only DH. So kind of take us through that injury, how you had to kind of adapt from, not pitching, not even playing the field, you could only hit. And did that affect any sort of recruiting in terms of you going in as a pitcher, kind of losing a year of high school?
Yeah, I think it was super interesting, that whole process and that story. So yeah, I think it was before games started, spring of junior year, that I went down with that injury, and it was pretty devastating. It was tough mentally because I came a long way that off season. I think I started to throw a lot harder, and yeah, it was really devastating at the time. But I think now it could have been a blessing in disguise. I think I really just got to work in the time off. I got to work in the weight room, really grow into my body and become a little more athletic. And I think over time, just having less innings on the arm has kept me fresh. But obviously it's never fun to go down with an injury, but learning how a bunch of arm care things and how to keep your body healthy was a big thing. And I'm happy I learned it at an earlier age than later.
Well, speaking of high school, found out you're part of the chess team there as well. I guess how did that come about? Have you been doing that your whole life, and what's the background there?
Yeah, so one of my just high school teachers was led the chess club and chess team and stuff. So I think in class, sometimes you finish the lesson early, he would just start talking about chess. Over time, I think it just really got into it. I know last year it was super fun. I think just throughout the whole year, half of our team was on chess.com, and we'd always play each other, bus rides, in the locker room all the time. Chris Clark, I know he played for the Firebirds 2 years ago. He's a big chess guy. But yeah, it's something I picked up in high school, and it's been fun just to mess around with it. I'm not super good, but play some teammates and have some friendly competition there.
No, that sounds like a Harvard answer. A Harvard guy playing chess. Um, Outside of chess and other game, obviously you want to find ways to stay in the game, right? And to make sure you're thinking about baseball all the time. But we talk about the mental so much these days with athletes and staying balanced. What are a few things a part of your daily, weekly routine that keep you not only focused on what you're doing with baseball, but just keep you, level headed and, even during the summer when you're not at school are going to serve you well to your routine and things that maybe stand out with you personally.
Yeah, so I think during the school year here at Harvard, I'm pretty busy taking classes, and homework takes up a ton of time. But I think it's great because my commute to the field every day is like the best part. It's like I look forward to going to practice every single day. The way campus is set up, the athletic facilities are across a river, maybe a mile away from where I'm living. So once I cross that river, it's like a light switch. It's no more school and all about baseball. So it's been nice to have like two separate like domains to work in. But yeah, I think schoolwork for the most part keeps me busy, but also in my free time, I'll talk to some of my friends back home. Love to just go outside. I've just really enjoyed some of the friendships I've made here and hanging out and talking with a ton of cool people.
And we got to finish up with this one, Callan. And we ask every player this. What kind of went into, when did you get the message that you were coming to the Cape? Now, like you said, you have much more time to kind of know where you're going than you did last year with Vermont. What was your reaction? Who kind of told you, and kind of what went into that?
So last summer, the head coach in Vermont, Pete Wilk, I think he actually just passed away today. Rest in peace. He was a great guy, great mentor, great leader, great everything. He did a ton for me. He was great. Just sat down with him one day and he was like, "Hey, is this something you're interested in? I think if it is, I think I can make this happen, pull some strings for you." And I was like, "Yes, this is definitely something I want to do. This is like, at the time was like one of my goals is to get a spot on the Cape." And I think later that week he said, "I got you a spot in Orleans." And I was thrilled. I was super excited knowing that Chris Clark and Sean both went from Vermont to Orleans. It was a great situation. I think Coach Nicholson, Coach Wilkes did great things about him. And I'm super excited to see what it's all about this summer.
Well, it's certainly become a pipeline, but all three of you, Chris, Sean, and now yourself, you've all got something special to your game, and you all seem like really good people that are going to fit in. So, Callan, we really appreciate your time here. You mentioned you're super busy. Can't even imagine what it's like being a student athlete at Harvard and doing the things that you're doing on the mound. So keep doing your thing. Good luck to you in Ivy League play and the rest of the spring, and be ready to do your thing in the summer in Orleans. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.